Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to this breaking edition of All Access AM. I am Billy Embody. Thanks for joining us on this Monday afternoon as we have coaching carousel dominoes to get to. James Franklin, one of the biggest names in the market, now off the books. For those of you who were trying out there to get him to come resurrect your program, he is not going there unless your name is Virginia Tech. James Franklin comes to Virginia Tech after a wildly successful stint at Penn State, just not necessarily enough for the Nittany Lions, especially in those big games over the course of his career. And after losing to UCLA, following that loss to Oregon, that really set all those things in motion for him to get let go. And they did that and made the move to move on from him following that 3-3 start for Penn State this season. Of course, the firing coming not really as a surprise to anyone once it really started getting going. But once they lost to Oregon, there was the wonder, can you win the big game? Can you really win the big game? It was already there. And then once they fell to Northwestern, they really just had all the really things in place already to make a move away from James Franklin. And they had even more reason to as that got done. So I just want to react to this news with you guys. We appreciate you guys. If you're watching us on YouTube, please click the subscribe button right now and give us a subscription. You know, it takes nothing. It's free. You're not going to get signed up for anything. You can just get signed up for email alerts if you want to know when we go live, which traditionally is Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 to 8 a.m. Central, 8 to 9 a.m. Eastern time. We break down all things ACC football, basketball, and more. But with the news that James Franklin is out at or is now the Virginia Tech head coach, I wanted to get on and react to you guys. We're going to do this when we get kind of big news. I want to do this when somebody gets fired, somebody gets hired, maybe some college football playoff reaction once the final rankings come out, ACC championship postgame reaction. We'll do all of those things with you guys on All Access AM, but we do want to give you guys more of a reason to stick around with us. So we'll get into our thoughts on James Franklin and what it means for Virginia Tech. And I want to start with this. James Franklin is a huge hire for Virginia Tech. They've invested the money now. They've gotten everyone aligned that, hey, we have missed the boat. We've got to invest. We've got to spend. We've got to step up to the plate here in this new day and age of NIL, rev share, and all of the things that are coming down the pipeline eventually with regards to potential conference realignment again. We know that is all hanging over the heads of administrators across the country, coaches across the country, and everything that is going on with college football right now. You've got to be spending. If you're not spending, you're going to get left behind. And whenever those final lifeboats all go off to whatever the next best thing is at the time, of course, all of these decisions have just gone so well for college football lately. Whenever that next best thing comes down the pipeline, that's where you've got to be positioned to catch those boats off to that whatever great idea is coming for college football. We know how super conferences have worked out, by the way. But James Franklin really helps legitimize the ACC's coaching ranks even more. And no disrespect to Brent Pry, but wasn't successful at Virginia Tech, wasn't given the resources to be all that program can be. And so now you bring in somebody who has won a Big Ten championship. He's advanced through and into the college football playoff. He's been successful with little resources at Vanderbilt. He's then gone on to be successful at Penn State, regardless of what you think of him in the big game. And it's fair. It's beyond fair. And it's true. What he will have to overcome at Virginia Tech when he gets his program rolling, because I think he will get that program rolling again, is he'll have to find a way to win those big games, to do the things that Virginia Tech is used to doing as a program. But for the ACC, this is a huge hire. This is a guy who, when you look at some of the programs in the SEC, you think of Arkansas, who knows what's going to happen at Ole Miss, but you look at Florida, You look at some of those programs that are looking for head coaches, they should have been lucky enough to hire James Franklin. And instead, he's going to the ACC, which is great for the league. I really believe that. He has a lot of respect built up nationally as far as who he is as a coach. 104 and 45 in 12 seasons at Penn State. And everyone knows that was a difficult rebuild walking in there. And the Hokies made him that top target, and they were able to get him in the end. And according to On3's Pete Nakos and the entire team covering this one, quote from our story at on3.com, a memorandum of understanding has been in place since at least Saturday night, sources told On3 on Monday, and Franklin has now signaled he's ready to go. Along with a growing athletic department budget, Virginia Tech committed to funding a roster at the top of the ACC for James Franklin, sources added. So 128 and 60 overall as an FBS coach, and he's got a great resume. They were number 2 in the preseason polls in this 2025 season, but it really did not go well. But I think for me, this was maybe a great learning experience for him, a great opportunity for him to see, okay, where do I need to get better? Where do I need to fix not only myself, but my staff, my approach, my processes? And I think for me, watching Penn State be similar to, I think, Clemson in regards to how they stayed the course. They said, you know what, we're going to, maybe add some guys here and there. And Penn State lost a couple guys too. But kind of that stableness, that late stableness for these rosters is not something that is going to be as celebrated going forward. I think a lot of people will look at what happened at Clemson, look at what happened at Penn State this year, and say, okay, have you gotten better than what you were last year? Or are you just content to say, the team you have is going to take another step forward and they're going to be back on their game and be able to get you to where you were? That is a tough gamble to take in today's day and age of college football, where people are investing in the transfer portal. Look at Texas Tech. Look at what they've been able to do. On the flip side, you can invest in the portal and it go wrong. Look at LSU. Look at Miami. Hasn't been able to get over that hump, but they've been better. There are all sorts of different pieces to that puzzle with regards to roster building. But I think the biggest lesson James Franklin learned this year is you can't always just assume that your roster is going to get better and you're going to get to where you want to go with that roster. So I think that's important to note. But as far as Virginia Tech goes, this is exactly what they wanted. They wanted a national name. They wanted a name with prominence and a resume and an ability to recruit, which he can do in that area up and down the Mid-Atlantic and the DMV. And he can take that Virginia Tech roster and take it up a notch. And that's step number 1 for James Franklin, is roster building and getting as many talented football players in that building as possible. And if they're committed to stepping up, which, by the way, $229 million of additional money being pledged to that athletics budget over the next 4 years is a big deal. And so now you couple that with the ability to attract, prospects and players to play in Lane Stadium. Everybody knows that's an incredible environment. This is a match made in heaven for Virginia Tech and James Franklin. So appreciate AJ Crow for listening on this Monday afternoon. Appreciate our friends at Security National Bank, as well as OPW Solutions, for supporting us at All Access AM. And of course, if you missed the news, we added another name to our growing list of partners. We added the LaLa Land Foundation to our partners at All Access AM. Really excited about this. This is a partnership that I think we can all get on board with, whether you want to support financially, whether you want to support with your time. You can support youth transitioning into adulthood who have aged out of the foster care system, and you can help them get a start in life. And whether you want to donate your time or your money or consider being a corporate partner with the LaLa Land Foundation, make sure you check them out at lalalandfoundation.com and see what you can do to support a great organization. It's an extension of LaLa Land Cafe, which is an incredible experience for anybody who loves coffee, loves a great aesthetically pleasing place to have a conversation or have a great little breakfast or lunch treat with our friends at LaLa Land Cafe. So just want you guys to know during this season, the holidays are approaching. Great chance to support the LaLa Land Foundation. We're proud to partner with them and help their movement. It's not a check the box thing. It's a movement. It's a commitment to kindness, and that's what we love about the LaLa Land Foundation. So appreciate all of you guys for tuning in with us on this reaction show of All Access AM. Again, if you're just tuning in for the first time, we're live 7 to 8 a.m. Central Time, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, talking all things ACC. We'll have jam-packed shows for you guys later this week, breaking down little hoops, little football, as the ACC championship game picture gets closer and closer to being finalized. But let's end on this with James Franklin, and I'll let you guys get back to your afternoon. Early expectations for me with James Franklin. I think you need to get to a bowl in year one. And I don't think that is unrealistic with the level of talent he has as a coach. I don't think that's off the wall to think that they can do. And if they plug in the right quarterback, maybe through the transfer portal, they can make an immediate change for the better. I think offensively, that program is close enough to such a talent-rich area that you should be able to have a lot of success in the high school ranks, and guys who maybe have gone out to other programs and want to come home and want to play in front of family and friends and have a good time doing it. So get those types of players in, have them be the building blocks, the guys that are committed, the guys that love their home area, and start that up that way. Blacksburg is a hidden gem in the ACC. Let them be the ones to tell the story of coming back to the area and helping James Franklin build this thing up the right way. So I would think if they're committed to spending like they are, or like they say they are, and they have shown James Franklin they are, then they'll have a chance to do that. And maybe this is a program that returns to the days of Frank Beamer and the success that they had. I don't necessarily know if this is going to be a place that wins a national championship, but I know with James Franklin, they got a lot better. They got a lot closer to that goal. And man, what an exciting move for the ACC and Virginia Tech to welcome James Franklin to Blacksburg. And I think they've got a chance to be challenging for ACC championships. Not in year one, not in year two, although it's not crazy. But I think in the long run, James Franklin as a program builder will have a chance to have them back in Charlotte at some point, challenging for that. I think he's a really good coach. I think he immediately becomes one of the top coaches in the ACC, and the league just got harder. And these schools in it are doubling down. This is, I think, a call out to an NC State to step up. I think this is a call out for schools like Clemson and Miami and Florida State to finally punch back up and through to what they have been used to doing and get back to where they'd like to go. You know, Miami breaking through for a national championship type run, Clemson getting back to the college football playoff, Florida State getting back to major relevancy. That's the type of hire and motivation at Virginia Tech that motivates all those other schools to continue to invest and keep pushing and pushing and pushing to make this conference better. So it's been a great run of hires for this league over the last few years. So James Franklin, just the latest. And we will be tracking it all and seeing how it unfolds at All Access AM. So Stanford nearing maybe a hire as well. So Pete Nakos of On3 was on with us Monday morning. If you missed that episode, head to our Apple podcast feed or our Spotify feed or our YouTube channel and check out that full live edition of All Access AM this morning, Monday morning, if you're listening to this. So hope you guys enjoyed this kind of breaking news edition of All Access AM, and we appreciate all of you guys in the chat for joining us. But hope you guys hit that subscribe button for us and follow us wherever you catch your podcasts or YouTube videos at. So appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. I'm Billy Embody. This has been a breaking edition of All Access AM. We'll catch you guys Wednesday morning, 7 to 8 a.m. Central, live on All Access AM YouTube.